you can be an auditor, for instance, and a company in Europe can employ you to audit their books of accounts, and you just use a virtual environment, a digital arrangement for you to do the auditing, and you are paid and you are employed. So now a summit like this one provides us with an opportunity on how Africa can work with the Middle East in those areas and also the rest of the world, because we now live in an interconnected world courtesy of digital technologies, and therefore an opportunity like this one where we are going to be discussing issues of digital transformation regarding Africa, Middle East, and the rest of the world is a very great opportunity for us here in Uganda. And as the Commissioner hinted, this summit is being organized by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, by the Commonwealth Business Council, COMESA Business Council, CBC, as well as High People, so that we put our efforts together to have a very successful summit. In conclusion, let me say this summit is the first of its kind to be hosted by Uganda, and the summit will hasten socio-economic transformation within the two regions of Africa and the Middle East. It will harness emerging technologies to hasten attainment of Uganda's Vision 2040, the ESC Vision 2050, and the Africa Agenda 2063, as well as the global SDGs. As we all appreciate, digital transformation is at the center of socio-economic transformation here in Uganda, but also in Africa. So any opportunity that avails itself for us to discuss and handle these issues is a welcome opportunity. And therefore, I want to thank our colleagues from COMESA Business Council, my colleague from High People. Thank you for coming, and moving forward, we shall continue working together. And you, the media, the reason why we are here, we are bringing you on board so that we move together and have a successful summit in June 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Maybe one or two or no more than three. Then the rest we can handle with the Professor
Luganda. Okay. This would not attract many questions if it was about to BCG1. They would raise many questions, the politics. But let me just put the, I don't know if it was the politics like we usually discuss here. There would be many questions. Njagala kubebaza abamawulire olwaleero twazze wano okubanjulira olukiiko olukungaana olugenda kubeerawo olugata region ya Africa neya Middle East ey'abawarabu. Tujja kuba tuteesa ku nsonga ez'ebya kalimagezi. Kati olukungaana luno lwe tuyise Middle East Africa Digital Transformation Summit ey'e2025. Kati tuli ebitongole bisatu ebitegeka olukiiko. Waliwo ministry yaffe eya ICT n'okulungamya eggwanga, tulina aba COMESA Business Council, ate omukulu we COMESA ali wano. Waliwo ne kitongole kituyita High People. So kati olukungaana luno olugenda kubeerawo mu mwezi ogw'omukaaga omwaka guno, ennaku 25 okutuuka 27 mu Juni. Kati ffe balutegeka ministry ya ICT, COMESA Business Council ne High People, ebitongole bisatu byebitegeka. Kati President Yoweri Museveni yagenda kubeera omugenyi omukulu mu kugulawo olukungaana luno. Ate olukungaana lukwata tujja kuba tuteesa ku nsonga n'ebyekalimagezi engeri gyetusobola kukozesa ebyakalimagezi okuleeta enkulaakulana mu bifo lyaffe erya Africa ne Middle East. Kubanga ffenna tukimanyi ebyakalimagezi byebitambuza enkulaakulana mu nsi yonna, ate amawanga agali nga America ga Europe gatambula olugendo lunene, naffe abaddugavu aba Africa n'ensi endala mu nga Asia naffe tugezaako okulaba nti erya tekinologiya tubiteekamu amaanyi kubanga gye bisobola okututuusa mu biseera ebirungi eby'omu maaso. So guno omukisa okulaba nti tujja kuba ffe aba Uganda tuhostinga olukungaana luno bwe lugenda okusooka okulaba nti Uganda yekyaza abagenyi n'okukyaza olukiiko ogwa summit eno okukwata ku byakalimagezi. Ate twagala kwebaza aba high people n'abakomesa okukwatagana ne gavumenti ya Uganda n'okuteekamu obwesigwa nti Uganda esobola. Kati ensonga lwaki tubayise abamawulire tujja kuba tukolagana nammwe okulaba nti tutegeeza bannayuganda ku nsonga y'olukiiko kubanga tugenda kuba tukiikako bintu bikulu ebigenda kutwala Uganda mu maaso by'enkulaakulana. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala. I am improving. Is there a question? Yes. You want to raise other things? There will be no problem, but the pressure of time, you've been here for long.
Thank you, Now that you have put a disclaimer already, we are ready to bombard you with questions. You can leave it.
No, but we can, if you want. I was rushing, but okay. We could give them a chance. They make comments, and then when we are done with the, because if you are like live streaming, and now we're talking about the summit, then you bring in our local things, it will not, the person who is viewing will be confused. Would think this summit is about that, but we could, I could extend and give more time, so our colleagues make some comments. If you have any questions, you address them to them or me. We finish that part, then I can give some 5-10 minutes for any other questions you may want to raise.
Okay, on the summit,
on the summit, yes.
How many countries from Africa and Middle East have confirmed participating, and which hotel is going to host? Because you said Uganda, you did not mention specific hotel. You have many hotels here. Thank you.
Some of these questions I will leave them to my team, like how many countries have confirmed. If Commissioner Watasa, you have now a count, you will answer some of them. Which hotel? Any other question?
Honorable Minister, my name is Ivan Seben.
Yes.
I work with the New Vision. Now, mine is related to digital because now we are looking at Uganda as a country. You talked previously. You talked about Uganda embracing digital operations. For example, ministries taking most of their operations online. But it seems we are still dragging our feet. I don't know, would you be maybe in position to share with us some of the reasons as to why Uganda is still taking long to embrace digital transformation? Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, any other, before I yield the floor to my colleagues? Chairperson, I think, wants to ask the other session. Maybe Chairperson also, you know, the issues of digital transformation. Okay, let her ask.
Thank you, Honorable. I'm Winnie from UBC TV. Minister, now that we are hosting this summit, I wanted to find out about the internet that we launched. How far?
Which one?
Honorable, can I give a chance to say yes?
Yes, no problem.
Honorable, twagala okugenda ku nkola eno eya digital naye tulaba nti internet ekyayongera okubeera ey'ebbeeyi mu Uganda ate ne data kuba tukuze ebbeeyi olumu kampuni zimukka smartphone zikyali kizibu mu Uganda. Ekyokubiri ne kampuni n'ebitongole bya gavumenti ebisinga obungi tebinnagenda ku nkola za digital so nga n'ekitongole nga neti ebyabaguza nga internet mwakijjawo.
Charlie, let me respond. My team will respond to how many countries have confirmed which hotel. Those ones. Then Ivan is saying government agencies getting online, the process is slow. And then I think also Chabasa is asking more or less the same question. And then Winnie also about internet. Well, we are still committed to supporting digital transformation processes in Uganda, because as we all appreciate, technology now is at the center of facilitating socio-economic transformation. You cannot do away with technology. Even if you hide your head in the sand and say technology is for other countries and so forth, it will definitely catch up with you. For instance, look at the media. There is no way you can remain using traditional and analog tools, because technology, the revolution is like a wind which is blowing and it has sweep you away and you move. Like you'll be forced to have modern cameras, modern equipment to make things much more efficient, much more easier, and therefore no country can just say we shall keep here and the technology revolution passes us. We have to do everything possible to make sure that we are part of that journey of digital transformation. That's why we've been putting in place policies, legislations, interventions, programs, in order for us to move with the rest of the world. And indeed, Uganda, you cannot say we are stuck. We may not be there where we should be, but we are on the journey to get there. For instance, we've been building the digital infrastructure in this country to enable us be part of this digital revolution. Like we've been discussing, we've been extending the national backbone infrastructure to cover the whole country. We've so far covered like half of the country. We have two major projects that are beginning, one which we call Phase 5 of the NBI, and the other one called the UDAP, the Digital Acceleration Project, both being implemented by NITAU. The other day, Monitor is here. I saw you writing a story. There was a mid-term review of that UDAP, but for you were writing as if it was an audit, as if there are audit issues. Projects all over the undertake mid-term reviews. Why do you distort? It's a World Bank funded project. So at the beginning of this year, we had a mid-term review of that Uganda Digital Acceleration Project. But I saw Monitor writing as if the project has issues, that's why the World Bank came. No, there was a mid-term review. Mid-term review is a normal exercise which is carried out to review performance of programs or projects with a view of making alignments, drawing from the lessons which you have registered in the first half of the project. Now, probably what you are calling slow progress is that these projects, which are major projects, I think the initial activities which are carried out by these major projects are to do with the procurements. For instance, if you are to extend the backbone fiber, you have to procure a company which will do that. So when the project comes, and the procurement cycle in Uganda is quite lengthy, so you can take 8-9 months doing procurement. So that might appear like you are stuck because you're not seeing the civil works going on, but there are those preliminary processes. At the time, they have also to undertake surveys and assessments, designs, technical designs, which may be invisible to the naked eye, but they are part of the activities which are being carried out. So, because we've been talking about those major programs, I'm sure you are asking, how come we don't see them probably building those extending the fiber and so forth? So the initial period for implementation of those programs entails those activities which are invisible to the naked eye, like the procurements, the designs, the surveys, the environmental impact assessment, surveys and so forth. But the projects are moving on, and definitely like the NBI, within the next 2 years, we should be able to cover the whole country in terms of extending the national backbone infrastructure. I'm sure you must have followed that when HE, the president, was in Karamoja, which was at the end of last year, that's when we officially launched the phase 5, that phase 5 of extending the backbone infrastructure. This was in December. This is now February. But those processes are on the procurements, the designs, and so forth, and we should be able to implement fully this program. The same as UDAP. The UDAP is basically covering 3 key elements of the project. One is infrastructure, because we are also going to connect up to 20 districts using UDAP, that World Bank funded project, with the NBI, and they are in procurement stages. Because it is not NITAU or the ministry which will dig the ground and extend the cables. They have to procure a company that will do that. Then and also we are supposed to do data centers and put up also towers, the masts. That's part of the infrastructure. The other part of that project is to do automation of government services. You can't say we are at zero in Uganda. No. There are a number of critical services which are already automated. For instance, how many of you have driving licenses? Or you don't own vehicles? I don't want to appear insensitive, but you own the bicycles. But if you are to acquire a driving license now, it takes you very few minutes. You just go to the center, courtesy of automation and digital services. Within the 20-30 minutes, you get your driving permit and you go. Let's say payment systems. I know many of you may not be employed by government, but those of you who are employed within government, you know there has been a great transformation in terms of payment systems. In the past, government used to carry money, sometimes the cash, to carry any bullion vans, to take to Rukunjiris, take to Arua, to pay workers. But now, courtesy of technology, digital services, it's just by pressing a button that the accounting officer, the Ministry of ICT, transmits the payments to finance, and also the official, the finance, presses a button, and the person, the Bank of Uganda, presses a button, and your salary is on your account. There is no physical movement of taking money, but the payments are through e-systems, electronic systems. Procurement, we have developed a procurement system, and this is one way of fighting corruption, which has been occasioned by procurements, and now we have e-procurement systems and many others. So we are not yet there in terms of fully automating all the services in the government, but using this project of UDAP, we are going to further enhance the question of automation and strengthening e-services, especially within the government system. So we shall be there. I am sure even you journalists now, those days you would be in the field, you write a story on a piece of paper, you say, where do I type it from? Or you run to the media house with a written story. But I'm sure now that's not the case. I have been moving with journalists up country, and the stories are real time. The president is in Karamoja, but as he's speaking, you are relaying the speech on the media house, on the screens. When you go online, Ugandans and the whole world is following what is happening. So those are the transformations which are happening within the IT world. So even you, the media profession, the media industry, there is a lot of digital transformation which continues to take place. And our duty now as the government is to put in place that supportive ecosystem, supportive environment to enable you and the others in the government, but also out of government, to do that. Like you are saying, if we make the internet cheaper and affordable, if we make the devices, the phones, the laptops, the iPads, the computers affordable, and if we had time, I will tell you the measures, the steps we are taking to make sure that these things happen. For instance, internet, although it is still a bit expensive, but in the last like 10 years, it has considerably come down in terms of cost. But we still want the cost to reduce much further for anybody to transact digitally. The other day we announced how we had cut the cost of the government provided internet from $70 per megabyte per second, I think per month, to 35. 35 still remains high, but moving from 70 to 35 is phenomenal, because the average cost nationally is 45. So meaning the government provided internet is cheaper than the national average. And we are doing all it takes to even bring it further down. Like we are examining all the taxes related with the data and the internet, so that we remove them. Even by increasing the uptake, if we extend fiber so that many Ugandans are hooked on the internet, that in itself will bring down the cost. We are collaborating with the East African community countries to harmonize our policies, our interventions, and to connect the NBI to all the countries. For instance, when we announced the reduction, we had connected our system to that of Tanzania, and that contributed the reduction. And we are trying to hook it to all the countries neighboring. So we are doing everything possible to bring down the cost, and many other measures. Even the cost of smart devices. About 2-3 years ago, a smartphone was costing like 1 million Uganda shillings. But now, you can go in the market and you get a smartphone of 150,000 Uganda shillings. True or false? True. 150,000 shillings, or even less. And that doesn't just occur by itself. There are many things which we do, the actors in that area, which would not necessarily announce through press conferences like this, that continue to bring down the cost. And our target that the next 1 or 2 years, like we announced earlier on, next 2 years, is to bring down the cost of a smartphone to 40,000 Uganda shillings. How shall we get to that? One, attract companies that will manufacture and assemble these smart devices here, instead of buying them from China and they come. Like when this company in China, a Chinese company, started an industry factory in Mbale, and they are producing these smartphones. They are of high quality, but much cheaper than what we buy from outside. The same with even this Simi that assembles phones in Namave. Although when I checked on them, their market is more outside Uganda than in Uganda. But they make laptops, smartphones, and all phones, and they are very cheap and high quality. I found the consignments going to Morocco, and I was thinking, why are you not doing a lot of marketing within Uganda? So there are many things happening, and all those efforts are what bring the costs down. And we are committed as a government ensuring that the cost of smart devices come down, the cost of data and internet come down in order to have a conducive and supportive environment. NITAYU, we rationalized it, but with a proviso that rationalization will commence after 3 years for NITAYU. So for now, they are still operating the way they were. So there should be no cause for worry for now. We was asking about the internet. So I don't know what the position, the problem is about the internet. Are you saying, were you saying in relation to cost of internet, what was the main concern? You said the internet that we launched.
The free Wi-Fi for some spots in
The free Wi-Fi, some hotspots.
Not so.
My UG.
Yes.
Okay. Because some time back, government announced that there are hotspots or areas where there's going to be free Wi-Fi. And those spots are still there. I think there are over 300 spots all over the country. I don't have the list now. I need to ask NITAYU to give me the list. But they include, I think, City Square. So, what we can do, I will request NITAYU to publish all these areas, all these hotspots where there is free Wi-Fi, and they explain when is the free Wi-Fi there, because it was not 24 hours. Yes, there are specific times of the day when you access free. But I've also given an instruction to NITAYU to create hotspots in major institutions, especially universities and hospitals. Instead of creating a hotspot in an area where and you say there will be free Wi-Fi from midnight. If you say free Wi-Fi at midnight at the square, there are no people there. It creates meaning if the Wi-Fi is in Makerere, for instance, or in Marago Hospital, because that's where there are patients, they want to communicate. So, but I would ask NITAYU to publish in the papers all those hotspots where Ugandans or our people can access free Wi-Fi and at what time. I don't have the list here with me, but as far as I know, those areas are there all over the country, including on our border points of the country. I think that's enough. I can now invite who is going first. Okay, Comesa, our colleague from Comesa will go first, make comments, and then hi people. If you have any questions for them, then we end there, and then I will take 2 or 3 questions about the other issues.
About the other man.
Yeah?
About the other man.
The other issues, the other national issues.
Good afternoon. So my name is Dr. Jonathan Pinfo, and I work as Chief Operating Officer for the Comesa region. So as the Honorable Minister already highlighted, we are conducting this summit, Digital Transformation Summit, in collaboration with the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance here in Uganda, as well as our partner High People. So basically, by the end of the day, what we are trying to look at is to say, how do we promote economic growth through digital initiatives. There was a question regarding the confirmations. So we are sending out invitations, but as of today, all the countries in the Middle East have confirmed, and as for Comesa, we've got 21 countries which have confirmed as of now. But we expect that by the end of maybe this week or next week we'll have all the countries confirmed. So ideally, as you know, COMESA is a common market for Eastern and Trade Africa. So our aim is to promote trade within the region. And what we're trying to do also is we want to achieve how best do we make sure that services are affordable, but also they reach everyone. As our key role is, in as far as we are concerned, is to do with regional economic integration. So as the Minister highlighted, one of the aspects is on e-payments. As you know today, most of the people, when it comes to payments across the borders, some they use cash, but we are trying to come up with a digital payment platform for the region that will enable traders to pay easily across the region. Not only that, we also add an e-commerce platform where traders can check market information, like for instance, maybe you want to buy some cheaper fertilizer, for instance, in Uganda, so you check all the suppliers. If you are satisfied, you are going to pay through our COMESA integrated payments platform. So by the end of the day, we are looking at aspects like, for instance, interoperability. How do I easily pay, maybe even on mobile money, I pay money from here in Uganda, maybe to a bank in Zambia. That's number one, interoperability. Number two, we are looking at affordability. Through digital transformation, how are services going to be affordable? Today, if I'm going to send the money maybe from one country into another, you pay maybe as high as maybe $100 or even more than that, depending on the value of the transaction. But now what we're saying is, how can we come up with initiatives that will bring down the cost of transaction? The other aspect is about access to market information, and that will be done through digital transformation. So in the interest of time, let me stop there for now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hope you're well. Honorable Minister, we thank you so much for making time, and we thank the Minister of ICT and National Guidance that you lead for accepting to champion this initiative. When I was growing up, I was always thinking that the tallest minister was the Prime Minister. So sometimes I want to call you Right Honorable Minister, and I remember that you are our patron of Minister of ICT and National Guidance. Maybe you'll be our next Prime Minister. You know?
May God hear your words.
Yeah, but in the interest of the media and anyone that is watching from Uganda, Africa, and the Middle East, first of all, allow me to thank you, and also again apologize to all of you for keeping you here for so long. Please take our apologies as very genuine. We were only waiting for the right time that was set by God. But from a high people perspective, where we talk about things like including everyone, and where every day of our lives we speak to a slogan of maximizing the digital dividend, I am happy to share with you a story of about 18 years ago, just 2 years after High People was born. We made 20 years this January. You should clap for us. Yeah? Thank you. But I remember a friend of mine had a sister who studied in Bali, and whenever he had to send her some money, 20,000 shillings, he could go and buy airtime, a scratch card. I don't know whether many of you are old enough to remember scratch cards, but we used them for many times, for Mango and all the other telecom networks. So he could buy a scratch card of 20,000 shillings, and then he had a friend who was an agent, an airtime selling agent in Bali. So he could read the number on the scratch card, and as such send 20,000 shillings to the agent. And the sister could always receive a maximum of 14,000 shillings, 6,000 being taxed, because the agent has to sell the money, the airtime in bits and pieces. Today, when we're working with COMESA, especially with COMESA Business Council, we work in more than 21 countries in Africa, and specifically in the COMESA region. And wherever we travel, I don't need to travel with a card or a checkbook to be able to make a payment. Rather, I am able to seamlessly use my mobile money account, whatever network I have, to pay anyone around in their local currency. Of course, it's still very expensive and it has some hurdles, but like we've been speaking to data, I remember in 2009 when I was teaching in Makerere, the only way we could afford the internet was to sleep in the computer labs in Makerere and use the first internet after 11 p.m. in the night. By that time, we used to only have access to what they call dongles, or what you call modems, when you have a laptop. So you had to have two devices before you have internet. And the dongle was costing an estimate of about 300,000 shillings. And then a gigabyte of internet there by that time was at a minimum of 80,000 shillings. Today, the market has solutions that go as low as 2,500 shillings, but that can get lower, like as the Honorable Minister has mentioned. So when we come here to speak about the Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation Summit, we are speaking about creating interoperable synergies. There is creating synergies that don't connect seamlessly, but there is also where you have interoperability as a rail for ensuring that the synergies are automated, leveraging tools like AI, what we call artificial intelligence, of course machine learning, cryptography, blockchain and the likes, to ensure that we build interconnected communities and economies that help each one of us to maximize our digital dividend. In essence, as I conclude, we are speaking to saying that things like you've seen growing, like mobile journalism, I am sure all of you here have devices that you can carry, whether it's a camera or a phone, but we can effectively run news by using a mobile phone of any nature today. Part of that enablement has been mainly part of a contribution of the Ministry of ICT and National Governance in Uganda, but also as high people, we brag so much for championing the advocacy for inclusive connectivity. So when we are speaking seamless connectivity and interoperability, we are convening for the Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation Summit in Uganda for the first time to ensure that we collaborate on building seamless interoperable economies that allow us, among other benefits, to even travel to any of the Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation participants without needing to have a visa or receiving a visa on arrival, but also ensuring that if I am in Lusaka, if I'm in Lilongwe, and I'm using my Ugandan line to call, and someone calls me today, the status is that when I'm in Zambia and I'm using my Ugandan line, for whichever call I receive, I have to pay a minimum of 2,500 shillings and up to 4,500 shillings depending on the time zone. We want to come to a situation where all of us that are citizens to the region that actually has more than 3 billion people are able to seamlessly connect and affordably trade. For a layperson that is in Lilongwe, that is in Nakapiripiriti, or wherever they are in the marketplace, whoever is investing in buying a mobile device like a smartphone, like Honorable said, our goal is to see every person buy their phone and maximize its digital dividend. How? We want someone to buy a phone at 40,000 shillings, that, like the Honorable Minister stated, and make 4 million out of it. Yeah, a multiplier of probably 1,000. Same way, we want someone who buys that smart device, whether it's an iPhone, whichever it is, to make sure that they use it to better their lives at any time, but also by ensuring that they leverage the endless opportunities that come as a result of the huge numbers that we have in our communities. For instance, COMESA alone today has more than 630 million people as registered members and citizens of this community. So there is quite a lot for us to look out for, and we welcome and thank you all to partner with us and support the success execution of the Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation Summit happening from the 25th to the 27th of June 2025. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Maybe before we go, you allow me to borrow a minute from Honorable Minister. I couldn't let you to speak for 1 hour.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I beg you give us a Uganda like 2 and 2 minutes about what you submitted and then.
Thank you. So in Uganda, I can challenge the Honorable Minister. For that, I can beat him at the challenge. Yeah, so amanya gange nze Innocent Kawoya, nze senkulu wa High People. High People company yatandika okukola emirimu egya digital transformation ne financial inclusion emyaka 2 emabega. Era ebbanga lyonna tulimaze nga tuweereza Abannayuganda n'abantu mu Africa mu ngeri ez'enjawulo. Emu ku bintu bye twenyumirizaamu ennyo ebbanga lino lyonna kwe kulaba nti waliwo okulaakulana naddala eri abavubuka n'abakyala mu kukozesa tekinologi nga bangi bafunye emirimu. Okugeza omuntu yenna leero wakozesa TikTok asobola okuwa obujulizi nti alina ebintu bingi bye yeegobako mu nsi naddala bye bayita ebireetera stress, nti waliwo content ow'obwereere agosobola okufuna ng'ate mulungi, waliwo ow'okusoma, waliwo ow'eddwaliro, waliwo owa governance, waliwo n'ebintu ebirala bingi. Kyokka ate mu mbeera y'emu leero mu Uganda abangi ndowooza mulabe ku story ng'eza Tengetenge, mulabe ku story ng'eza Triplets Ghetto Kids ne ba influencer be mumanyi b'ogoberera nga bonna bakuze mu ngeri mu biseera ebyo eyambadde tekkirizibwa kubeera nga bafuna omukisa okubeera nga balabika oba talenti zaabwe ne zirabika. Wabula leero mu Uganda tulina omwana ataweza myaka 16 nga ku channel y'emu ya YouTube alina views ezisuuka biliyoni 1. Kyokka tulina n'abalala bannabitone bangi n'abantu aba media abaweereza mu ngeri ez'enjawulo. Mu mbeera y'emu tufunyeemu kye bayita democratization eya okuweereza amawulire oba journalism, era omulembe guno gulese kye bayita mobile journalism, nti omuntu yenna gw'olaba leero kyakola bw'abanga ayagala okuweereza abantu naddala nga baweereza ebituufu yeetaaga kufuna simu ye oba kamera eyenkana nga zino ze mulaba wano ezidda ze twakozesanga edda naddala aba cinematographers abanga za kilo nga 8 oba kilo nga 2, era nga bw'omala okugisitula nodde ewaka olina okwebaka paka ssaawa 6. Naye byonna byakyuka olwa mobile journalism ne devices eziriwo ate nga zirina affordable, nti leero ennaku zino kisoboka omuntu yenna okufuna smartphone ku mitwalo egitasukka 15. Wabula nyina emboozi gye nnyumiza eya mukwano gwange edda yabinga nga aweereza munne ssente mutowe nga bw'aba alina okumuweereza emitwalo 2 agenda n'agula airtime n'amuweereza agent abeera Embaale, kati airtime ono agent n'awa muganda we omutwalo 14,000. Wabula olwa digital transformation oba n'ebintu byetwogerako mu Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation Summit, ebintu bingi nnyo bikyusiddwa aba champion aba innovation, omuli zi fintech oba ze bayita financial technology companies, omuli zi bank, omuli mobile money operators n'abalala. Era nga leero tulina essuubi n'essanyu nti obulamu bw'abantu bangi bugenda kukyuka. Ekimu ku bye tusaba Katonda era bye tukolerera okulaba abo etuchampioninga kwe kulaba nti buli muntu yenna ateeka ssente ze oba azijje mu nnimiro oba azijje ku mulimu omulala gwakola n'afuna device ng'essimu nti agikolamu ebitundu ebitaka wansi wa 1,000, nti wemana gikuze emitwalo 4 essimu eyo okulaba nti ogifunyemu omugaso ekitono nnyo olina ogikolamu miliyoni 4. Y'ensonga lwaki olw'omulundi ogusoose tugenda kubeera nga Uganda hostinga Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation Summit, era nga tulowooza nti kino kigenda kuyambako okutumbula ebyobulambuzi, okutumbula ebya investment, kubanga ensi nnyingi nga mu Middle East okugeza waliwo kye bayita Islamic banking. Leero Islamic banking nga industry eri worth trillions oba bakitatya mu Luganda obutabalika kati trillions 2.7 trillions Islamic in dollars, nti Islamic banking sector emu yokka erina ssente ezo. Islamic banking engeri gyekolamu nti ebiseera ebisinga bawola ssente nga tebakusaba magoba oba nga bakusaba amagoba matono nnyo agatasuka percentage point emu. Ssente ezo ziri mu Middle East, balina omukisa, balina abantu batono nnyo mu nsi zaabwe, so basobola okubeera nga ssente zaabwe bazireeta mu nsi eza Africa okuimprovinga manufacturing, okuteekawo emirimu egy'enjawulo. Kyetulowooza nti intervention ya Middle East and Africa Digital Transformation Summit y'emu ku ebyo ebintu ng'ogaseeko n'ebirala byonna byonna gavumenti yaffe eya Uganda byekola, Ministry of ICT and National Governance byekola, ba partners baffe aba Commercial Business Council ne Commercial bebakola bagenda gamba nti bakyali baffe aba Middle East nenerabira nenzijukira nti no tetulika mwoca awo nekyusaamu naye nti bonna bannaffe bye bakola okulaba nti tukwasaganya ekyokuyamba ku bantu okubawa skills ezibayamba okufuna emirimu egibabeezaawo. Kino olwekyo tulowooza nti mu myaka egitali kyawala abantu mwenna abali wano n'abatulaba bonna n'abawulira Oluganda bonna ng'abo basukka miliyoni 21 mu Uganda tibagala tuga ekiseera nga mwena tebayona bwena kusaba mulimu wabula ng'okozesa tekinologi oba mu nnimiro oba mu kisenge kyo oba gy'osomeseza oba gy'ojjanjabira muyiddeko ku bintu nga bayita telemedicine era ndooza mulabyeko ku solution nga bayita my doctor nga n'omusawo omukubira essimu ng'oli mu nnimiro ebisinga ebyo byonna abikumalira mu bbanga eritali lyawala. Mwebale nnyo basebo ne banyama kama bawa omukisa.
I will take the Honorable Minister to stand beside that group, group picture, and then we come back into Mawuli the Minister and I got and then we get questions in regard to
if you have any questions regarding other issues in the country.